So today what we're going to be talking about is how to make contingencies for whatever situation you're going into, right? Why do we make contingencies? Well, it's so that we can think through the situation, a possibility, and come up with an action plan beforehand that we can use our logic and reason and change any part, any variable, so that we can basically, without the emotional overlay of in the moment making a decision or rational, whatever emotion we're feeling at that moment, we can make it in a state where we can really think through things and not be tainted by our emotional overlay, like I talked about. So why would we want to do this? Well, the thing is that when we have a situation that might be stressful or there's a lot of possibilities, well, frankly, like a lot of possibilities can fit into some pretty simple categories when you think about it, right? So imagine you're going to a party. Okay, so why are we going to the party? Let's just say we're doing that for networking or something like that. Networking or just making new friends, which is basically the same thing. So basically, we walk in, we're trying to make new friends, trying to make new contacts, see who you can offer value to, and get to know people's strengths. So maybe if there's something for us or something that they could offer value to us, then we can make a deal or something like that, right? So we walk in there. Well, okay, so if we're looking for value, there might be value, there might be no value. How would we know that there's value there? How would we not know? Okay, there might be people that we know there, or we don't know, obviously. What else? There might be people that are there already, and then people coming afterwards or leaving, or there might be a flow of people, so that the people that you start with, the people that you see, uh, more people will show up, and those people might spice things up, or everything might be dampened down. When would we know when to leave? Right? What's kind of the vibe of the group? Is it rambunctious? Is it this? Is it that? Like what would happen if if everybody was just talking like as individuals, or people were just dancing, having a great time, nobody was really talking, the music's so loud that you can't really say anything. Well, what do you do? Hmm. Well, these are questions that we can easily answer by either looking up on Google. It doesn't take that much. It's like, well, when you're dealing with this, like you're trying to get network, you're trying to build rapport with people, you're trying to make a connection. So maybe later on that you can meet for a coffee or whatever, or do something, especially if they're not actually like a business owner or somebody that's actually like really successful, because that's not really offering value to them, especially if they're at a peak point in their career, or they're at a level where it's just like, their time is very valuable. Or you're just making a lot of people that have a lot of possibilities. Okay, so let's look. Okay, so we can develop contingencies for all those different factors, right? So what we can do is like, okay, what would be the most rational decision for nobody's there that offers value? Well, how would you know? Well, you'd have to get to know them, because now that would also take place if you knew them, right? If it's everybody that you know and none of them are really what you're looking for in terms of um, networks, or just building your network, if you wanted to say building your network or getting to know people that might have something that would be beneficial, if you could make a partnership with or something like that, if you know everybody there and none of them fit that description, you can make the contingency reserve that we should leave, right? Okay, cool. Now what if there's people that aren't there? No. Now what if there's people that you don't know? Sweet. Well, what's going to be your plan? Well, if they're in a group, that might be a little bit more difficult. So actually, no, it's not. What you do is that you find the ringleader of the group, and then you build rapport with them. You kind of, I don't want to say ignore everybody else. You kind of like, hey, what's up? What's up? Hey, how's it going? My name's Eric. What's up? And like you're just there chilling. But you build rapport with the group leader, establish rapport with the group leader, and that's the person that matters, because all of them are kind of like projecting what is the group leader going to do. And if you're building rapport with the group leader, or you're there, then they'll look at you like and everybody else will be on your same time, especially if you guys connect, right? Which is pretty cool. right? And then you was like, okay, so how am I gonna walk up and say, hey, how's it going? Well, well, we could like look at them, wave friendly, and then walk over straight, just ignoring everybody else straight. Hey, what's up, man? I haven't seen you before. What's your name? Or something like that. That's kind of a little. Hey, man, I'm Eric. What's yours? Like that kind of stuff. It's a little bit more friendly. Yeah, what's your name? Ugh, Jesus. Okay, yeah, that's. Maybe you'll think about like the specific words, and then he's like, oh man, oh great. Well, I haven't seen you around. What's your story, bro? What's your story? And then he's like, blah, blah, blah. Or if you kind of like just kind of nudge your way in, or they say something and then you jump in, and then you're right there, something like that. Or they're giving a speech, if especially like I don't know, there's multiple ways, and especially you could look stuff up. Hey, when you're trying to introduce yourself to a group, you can look that stuff on the internet, and people will give you systems or tools. You can have your buddy introduce you. Hey, do you know some of these people? Yeah, I know her. Okay, could you introduce me to her? Then what do? Well, 5 minutes after talking to her or doing whatever, then you're like, hey, do you know some of these people? It's like, yeah, I know him. He's Jimmy over there. Oh, sweet. Hey, could you introduce me? And then you just person walk all the way around until you know everybody. Okay? And the thing is that you'll have a friendly conversation. The thing is that when you're mirroring body language and you're getting to know them, because you're trying to gather information on them, how they talk, what they think, uh, uh, various patterns that they have if you use the meta model just a little bit, but you're building rapport and you're adding those questions, and especially with cushioners, um, it really it really works well, because then you're like chilling and you're like, yo, what's up? Now this doesn't really work well when you're in a party setting, because like, so what do you do? And then like the beat's going on behind you. It's like they really don't want to talk. They just kind of want to play. They want to dance or whatever. They don't want to enjoy just like chilling and being ridiculous or something like that. It's like, well, that's not really the tool set, because what I'm there for. Well, if you want to have fun, you can build context and still have fun, right? All you're doing is just messing around and getting to know people, right? It's not like it's now if it's serious and stuff, and there's kind of like a little bit of drinks or whatever, um, then it's just like you're chilling, and then you can kind of engage in that one-on-one stuff, which it really builds relationships, and people begin to trust you, as they should. It's just that you have the tools to present yourself authentically in the way that they can understand and relate with. Okay? Like, you can be your authentic self, but if people get appearances wrong, and, if people perceive the appearance as being, something other than that, we just want to make it look like it's similar to them. Okay? Because then they'll similar stuff, but they'll also see the authenticity. And that's what makes it really powerful, because everybody wants to be authentic, right? And you're being your authentic self, and then you're presenting it in a way that they could understand. So you're looking for words of the very sensory, detailed information, so you can present the information in the way that they like, right? Because you speak to people in the languages that impact them. Like, nobody would release an English ad in Taiwan, or let's just say an English ad in China or Mongolia or India. Like, nobody would do that. Like, oh yeah, let's put this on the the TV or whatever, or the internet in India, putting it in English. That's not the core language of the people that we're trying to advertise to. It makes no sense, because it's the medium of communication that conveys the value, right? Your value is authenticity, it's yourself, right? And all we do is just use the tools of communication, aka the, I don't want, maybe praise, correct praise if you're saying no, or positive, no, positive, right? I'll probably make a video on that. And then also, but you're communicating in a way that connects with them while still maintaining the authenticity of it. So basically, with these contingency reserves, these contingency plans, you can think rationally on how you're going to do stuff. And when you're like, I don't know what I'd do, well, then we can look it up, right? So one of the things, like, imagine you're saying, okay, well, I see a whole bunch of groups of people. I know nobody. How do I get in those groups, and how do I talk to the rapport leader? Especially if I know nobody. type in on the internet, you'll probably get 15 suggestions, and you'll be like, oh, you write them down in a notebook, you visualize each and every one of them, you visualize over and over, kind of you rehearsing it. Okay, sweet. And then I talk to the report leader. Then after I say hi or complete this tool, right? Because like what you're doing is that you're looking for tools, right? Because you're like, well, I know that once I get in a conversation with them, it's gonna be cool. Or once they get to know me, and they're gonna it's gonna be cool. They're gonna like it, of course. Or they're not, and it's just gonna be whatever. But I can talk to the next person, and they'll like it, right? And even if it doesn't, they don't like it. Well, first of all, if they liked it, it would add value to them. So it doesn't really add value to me if they don't like it. So then I just find somebody who likes it. Simple. Then I'm like, okay, once I'm in conversation, now how do I deal with all these people in a large group social dynamic kind of thing? Look up on the internet. Then you're like, but some of the stuff on the internet is not even complete. It's like, oh, just go over and talk to them. It's obvious. And that's coming from usually an introvert that just wants to sell books, which is fine. It's just that we want the tools to actually be competent and not just be like, that was a waste. Like, what do I do now? Like, that didn't help any. Because when you buy a book on tools of social dynamics or whatever, the whole point of the book is to actually gain the tools of social dynamics so that we can get the thing that we want, or be able to do the behavior that would allow us to be more, that would get us what we want, and also have everything, accomplishes our goals, right? Our goals are to connect with the other person, get to know what they're about, get to know what their strengths are, get to know if they have value for us, if we have value for them, see if we can find an exchange or some way to build a relationship, grab their phone number or contact information so that we can contact them in the future, kind of court them through constant contact, just being in their mind, doing all that stuff, forwarding on value and information that we have. Then getting into their circle of friends, because that's, if they're the report leader, those are the people that are important. Not I don't want to say unimportant. It's just that it's easier to get in the group when you're kind of one-on-one with the person who has the most influence over the group. You go to the influencers, and then they spread the message to the others, which is cool, right? So it does less work. They give you the social proof that you need in order to talk to others who might have more value than the actual influencer, which is cool. Because imagine you talk with the gatekeeper, and then the gatekeeper forwards you on to one of their friends who's sitting in the back, and they have the perfect thing that you need. Or it would be the perfect relationship for whatever you're going for, right? If they're a video graphic designer, and you have music videos, or you have ideas of an advertising thing where you're doing the videographer and they're doing the stuff and the or website maker or something like that, or just some other person to play with that plays a musical instrument, and you're grabbing gigs with them. It's like, that's worth it. That's worth it. And you're also getting in their circle of friends. So you're taking that, building that relationship, and then forwarding yourself through their social group with them as a boon to introduce you to those people, right? And not to mention, when you're doing that and you're building value, and all these people know you, guess who shifts as the rapport leader? You do. Now, they all have equal value, right? And a lot of people assess value as in doing things, which might be, value is in what we can ascribe as people's actions, because that's what money represents. It represents people's actions or the promise to do actions, right? At least that's the base function. Because if it doesn't mean anything, it doesn't mean that anybody's going to do anything for you, and you give somebody money and they're not going to do anything for you, then it's worthless, right? It's worthless. Or they stole it and they're just not doing it. You can see where that line goes. Yeah. This kind of was just a hodgepodge of different ideas, but basically the concept is that we think of every possibility, them hating us, them having no value, because if you look in Marcus Aurelius' book, I think it's Meditations, he talks about negative visualizations. Okay, what if they really don't like me? What if they look at me and they're just like, ah, they give you that look, and then you're just like imagine just having that feeling and just sitting with that feeling, them hating you, just like sitting there, just like, eventually you notice they're full of crap. It's like, you just sit there like, Based on what? Oh, I don't like the way you said that. Good. What did it mean? Oh, it meant brr, and it's completely wrong. Because they don't know what you mean, because they don't care. Or they don't know what you mean because they're not curious enough, or they're not wise enough to look into it, or they don't want to, or there's no value, supposed value. Now, people don't do that to things that they value, and if they can't perceive that, or they don't have any intention to digging through and actually receiving that, then that's their fault. It's not your problem that they don't see value because they're not curious enough, or they don't have the ideas to actually pursue others to see what valuable information they have, what things they've accumulated, and the wisdom that they have, right? But that's not us, right? So now what we can do is find the people that do and make relationships, and then go into their social groups, and then once we gain them off, then we're gaining momentum. Some of those people will realize something, and some of them won't. Now, the ones that do will gain into the fold like nothing happened, right? Now they see the value. Oh, there it is. Oh, okay. I didn't see that before. I couldn't see that before. They don't like it because they don't know. They don't know. But once they do know, and once they see the value and it matches with them, guess what? They're going to be right there with you. And if they're not, well, they have nothing to do with you. They're not similar to you. They're not any of these things. And if you're constantly pursuing wisdom and knowledge, I don't think that's a bad thing that they're staying away from you, honestly. And there's wisdom as the absolute principle, and then there's the pursuit or varying degrees from it, right? But at any given time, there is some bit of wisdom. And so our job is to just simply go from here to realizing more and more and more and more and more and more. And, it's not our job to convince people, right? What our job is to simply be and actualize these things, and then when they realize the benefits that we've had, then they'll probably pursue us and see what we're doing, and then reverse engineer it within themselves, and that's how you become successful, by modeling the success of others. We become successful in whatever endeavor we're doing, then similar people kind of gravitate towards us, since likes kind of come together. There's no such thing as opposites attract, because it's really not. It's just substrates of one modality, because there's no paradox of nature. So that was a long-winded explanation on just making contingency reserves so that we can think logical through all these things that we might not know, put behaviors in place, meditate them on beforehand, and then we can execute them without worrying about emotions getting in the way. So I hope you like this video.